out because they've changed everything for monetization. They've changed everything. So with Twitter, whereas we were on Twitter before, we can't be on Twitter anymore because it's a premium account, which costs £800 million a month or some shit. I think we're back on the espresso bar, but that was a nightmare to fix. And it's because all of these people are, oh, hello. Oh, that's right. No, that's great. And again, here we go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know him. You love enough of the tech talk. It drives me mad. He is our fearless, and I use the word advisedly, theatre critic. Pass the popcorn. It's Jonathan Baz.
Russ, good afternoon.
And good afternoon to you.
It's great to be back after
lovely you're here. I'm delighted.
A few weeks pause, but I have to say those weeks have been, well, some of them have been crammed with theatre going. This afternoon, 4 shows to bring to your delectation and discussion.
I thought you were going to say, do you know what I thought I heard you say? Because I'm falling to bits. I thought you said for your delectation and disgust. I thought that's a bit strong to start with.
And happily, this afternoon's shows, for God's sake, man, today's shows.
Get a grip, boy. Get a grip.
Are either good or outstanding.
Wow.
It's a happy run into the weekend. And let's start off with the good. Okay. 4 weeks, gosh, it's a long time. 4 weeks ago, I made the journey up to Wembley Park. Luckily, it wasn't too much of a trek because it happens to be on my way home from the city, from the centre of the city.
We have shared many a train together.
So I bailed out off of the Jubilee line at Wembley Park, and straight into the Troubadour Theatre that's been transformed into a great big toy train track for the return.
I've got to stop you. Where is, because I kind of know Wembley-ish, but where is the Troubadour Theatre?
So as you head up towards the old Empire Pool,
Empire Pool,
something else.
Jesus, show now.
Correct. Imagine you're heading up there. There was a big TV studios on your left.
Yes, I've been there many times. Was it Fountain?
I think it was Fountain. I couldn't tell you what it was called.
It doesn't matter. There it was.
Anyway, that big TV studios is now the Troubadour Theatre.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they've very cleverly taken that massive box of a room. It's an empty, huge box, and put in a load of seats. You know, this was, 2 or 3 years ago that it was transformed into the Troubadour. It's got all the space in the world, and quite imaginatively they've used it for Starlight Express. Starlight Express is a lovely show. It was an outstanding show. Sadly, it's lost the outstanding accolade because it's been woken up and dumbed down.
Oh, God. Oh, what?
Rather disappointingly.
Can't
the cast,
leave things alone.
The cast, I have to say, are a bunch. 99% of them are debutantes straight out of drama school, musical theatre school.
Right.
All fit as a butcher's dog because they have to roller skate for 2 or 3 hours virtually non-stop.
Right.
They are outstanding in their roller skating, in their performing, and for the most part, not entirely, in their singing too. But back in the day, for those of that can remember, the roller skating track at the Apollo Victoria.
That was it.
It went from the stage right up to the perimeter of the circle, and you had skaters really almost skating through the skies of the theatre, coming back down to the stage, and a massive bridge across the stage that spun around, etc., did all sorts of clever things. Now there is a track that goes around the Troubadour. It has a very mild sort of bridge that it climbs over on stage, very mild. The roller skating is amazing. Don't get me wrong. And if you're taking kids, teenagers, grandchildren to see the show for the first time, their eyes will pop out of their heads, unquestionably. It will be a lovely day at the theatre for them. But the scale of the spectacle is not what it was.
Yeah.
And the show has been tweaked with. There was you've got Rusty, who's the steam engine, who still is the sort of the focal hero of the character. Now, back in the day, his mentor was his Popper, who was a big, broad, baritone voice of a man. He's now been transformed into Mama, which, of course, not surprisingly, is a woman. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a maternal influence over a child, because remember, the whole story derives from a child imagining the trains are racing. But the song, the song Starlight Express, which is a beautiful song, up there as one of Andrew Lloyd Webber's most beautiful melodies. The inspirational song that the parent sings to the child, I have to say, was written all those years ago with a bass baritone voice in mind, the sort of bloke you'd imagine hanging around on a goods truck, loafing his way across the United States, with a massive bluesy voice. Gorgeous. It doesn't quite work the same with a woman's voice, I have to say. She's a beautiful singer. And it loses a little something. There is also, there's a bit of rivalry between the engines. You've got the steam train versus the diesel train versus the electric
That's
train.
the only thing I remember of the show. I saw it a billion years ago.
Yeah, indeed.
I didn't like it. I thought it was just...
It's very likable. But now, from a casting perspective, they've cast the diesel locomotive is played by a woman. And you call me chauvinist, but if ever my office happens to back onto one of London's main railway lines, and if a diesel train goes by hauling a massive load of freight trucks behind it, believe me, the noise that thing makes is loud and bass and rumbling and very, very in the bass tones, in the bass register. And to have a woman playing this is quite an ugly character. She's very menacing, and she's a great performer, a woman called Al Knott. But she'll make a fantastic pantomime villain, but I wasn't convinced by her as a threatening, ugly, muscly diesel train. But remember, I'm bringing 40 years of history. There'll be loads of families, loads of kids seeing it for the first time. We'll be seeing it.
Does it actually have a story? Because I was kind of just left cold by it. I mean, I saw it. Same with Cats. I couldn't stand that.
You've got Rusty, who's the rusty old steam engine, who's being forced, who's racing against these far more modern technology locomotives.
Okay.
And they're trying to win the love of one of the carriages. The carriages are still all played by women characters, and the locomotives are all, apart from the diesel one, which of course opens the pathway to a same-sex relationship, which was never conceived back in the day 40 years ago. The show's all about, does Rusty win the love of the carriage called Pearl? And I won't spoil the ending. So that is the story, as it were. The story is quite corny, but kids will love it. I have to say the pricing is sort of Starlight Excess.
Very good. Very good. I like that.
It's the Lord very generously seated us in the premium seats where the roller skaters went whizzing around us, literally all 360 degrees. But those seats are expensive.
Like what? What are we talking about?
We're talking 2. The first digit is a 2.
What, 20 quid?
Well, not quite.
Are you telling me £200?
Yeah. For a premium seat.
They could shove that. 200 quid.
And what left me a bit disappointing is this: if you're sat higher up on the bleachers, for want of a better phrase, looking down on the action, those seats still ain't cheap. And for the thick end of the, won't get much change out of 100. You're sitting a few rows back.
This is madness.
You're only seeing the action via the help of some big screens either side of the stage, which show how the races play out.
We could do that at home.
It's still good fun. You can see that the producers, Andrew Lloyd Webber and Michael Harrison, have lobbed millions into the show. I mean, it's so clever. The spotlights track the roller skaters, and they're you know, hardly surprising in this day and age of technology. But the spotlights are nearly all robot controlled, and the roller skaters have got trackers in their costumes. So the spotlights always stay on the right person for whatever scene it needs to be, because I was amazed as I watched them and I could see the spotlights tracking so accurately.
I tell you what I'm getting from this. That it's tech, it's spectacle. I'm not feeling, and that's what I thought when I saw it when it first came out, that it has anything specific to say. I just thought it was a gimmick, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the music either. I just didn't like the show.
Fair. Look, I have to say I loved the show. Now I only like the show. If you take, and as I say, if you take kids or grandchildren to see it,
that's different.
They'll love it. It is spectacular, but in all honesty, it's not what it was. And quite why Lloyd Webber and Harrison chose to meddle. You know, Ashley the Smoking Car, which was a brilliant creation by, I suspect, by Richard Stilgoe, who wrote the lyrics and is still responsible. Yeah. Ashley has been written out because,
of course,
smoking is now frowned upon. So Ashley no longer exists. And we'll come on to talk about Oliver. And what I found very refreshing about Oliver is how the story, which has been revised slightly, still maintains all of its darkness and all of its ugliness. But okay. Starlight Express, a little bit sanitized. I need to move on to another Michael Harrison production. And I have to say, fair credit to Michael Harrison, because he puts a huge amount of energy and very clever money into theatre across the country. Big shows, a lot of pantomimes. He is a very, very strong and impressive force in the industry. And of course, I'm talking about Hello, Dolly at the Palladium.
Yes,
in Melder Staunton. And it is, listen, it does what it says on the tin. You know what you're getting with Hello, Dolly. Imelda is gorgeous as Dolly Levi, the widow seeking to rediscover her life after her husband Ephraim has left her. And you know, Imelda Staunton was born to play this role. She's, you know, age-wise, she's certainly a more mature Dolly than Barbara Streisand was in the film. But she really extracts all of that gorgeous humanity that's about Dolly. And the show's very strong in that respect. If I have a criticism of it, it's at the Palladium. I'm sorry, at the Palladium, I expect 5-star knobs and whistles on a show. And they have spent a lot of money. But I wasn't entirely convinced for a show that stretches from Yonkers down to 14th Street. I didn't feel transported to New York City. I appreciate I was only in Argyle Street in W1. So
no, but it's meant to take you away. You are meant to be wherever
I felt set. I didn't feel as New Yorked as I could have been by the show. Imelda Staunton, fantastic. The band is gorgeous. The songs are lovely. You'll know, it's not, I wouldn't necessarily say you know all of them. You'll certainly know a good few number of them. You know, Hello,
I'm
Dolly.
guessing I'd know Hello, Dolly.
Before the parade passes by, she's fantastic. And she really, as I say, she really captures the humanity and opens that up. And it is, I couldn't tell you what the prices are. I don't believe it's cheap. It's a quality night at the theatre, unquestionably. If you go, you're not going to be disappointed. So for me, both of those shows, Starlight Express and Hello, Dolly, were 4-star nights out.
Jonathan, now, I've got to jump in here because I'm still reeling from something you said about 5 minutes ago. Who can afford to take a family out at 200 quid a ticket? This is madness. So there's you, your partner, and 2 kids. What? That's 800 quid. Are you mad to see a show? £800.
You could pay a lot less than that, but your view will not be as close up. You'll still be in the room where it happens, but your view of the action is going to be a good few yards further
See,
back.
I refused to go and see the Palladium pantomime. I went the first 2 years they brought it back, and then I thought, I'm not paying this. And it's the same. Basically, it's the same show.
I get it. It's the
revamped.
same. The Palladium is the same shtick. I get that.
I've seen it. You know, it's clever, but I'm not spending that sort of money. I got other things to do with
that
my
being
income.
said, you know, it's a different what the Palladium is compared to, and we've talked about pantos in the past and how fantastic they are for regional theatres who depend on them for their income.
Yes, they do.
But a regional panto will be great. It'll be cheesy, full of hardworking actors and scenery, often that looks like it's made out of cardboard. What you do get at the Palladium is costumes and scenery, and Julian Clary, who in fact was sat in front of me for Hello Dolly, which are $1 million. And the Palladium panto, interestingly, Hello Dolly did not have the same feel. I did not feel that I was looking at $1 million show, whereas Julian Clary in pantomime, unquestionably.
Oh, I've never seen anything like it. Never, ever. It's amazing.
You know, the budget has gone on his costumes, and it does deliver some bang for its buck. Whether it's worth all of that money is another debate. Hello Dolly, for me, it was lovely, but it just could have been a bit better. Let me move on now to two shows of absolute excellence, both still running until September, so plenty chance to go and see them if you can get a ticket, and both at affordable prices. The first is Barnum at the Watermill Theatre in Newbury. Small theatre, only seats 200 people. A small regional theatre that has a reputation for putting on actor muso productions. Let me explain what that is. Actor muso productions are when the actors are the musicians. So you don't have an orchestra in a pit. Instead, the actors, when it comes to the songs or musical background, the actors are picking up the instruments or wandering to the side of the stage to play the piano, and they are playing as they act, as they sing. It's a tough gig. Most musical theatre performers need to be what's called a triple threat. They can act, they can dance, and they can sing. In Barnum, they not only need to be quadruple threats, i.e. be talented on a musical instrument, they also need to be quintuple threats because they've learned some circus skills.
That's right. Like Michael Crawford did. I saw the original production. One
finishes.
Produced by my wonderful, much missed late friend behind the scenes, Shirley Green. Yeah, I know.
The act one of Barnum finishes with him literally walking the tightrope.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully at Newbury, it's not at a death-defying height. He's only 6 feet off the ground. But my God, Matt Rawle, who plays Barnum, walks the tightrope. He actually fell off it on his first attempt, picked himself up. They'd well rehearsed this eventuality, picked himself up, got back on it, walked the whole tightrope from one side of the small stage to the other. Massive round of applause. You know, spine-tingling stuff. But the gorgeousness of this production, which is done on a budget that must be a fraction of Hello Dolly or Starlight Express, and even then still into 6 figures. You wouldn't be surprised if it's the best part of 7 figures. They do transport you to a big top somewhere on America's East Coast. Or the magic of the Barnum and Bailey show. And I, together with Mrs. Baz, absolutely loved the show. I had tears in my eyes of emotion from not long after the show started until it finished. The story picks up, of course, on the rather complicated marriage between Phineas Barnum and his wife, Charity. And in this show, Barnum is played by a chap called Matt Rawle, and his wife Charity played by Monique Young. Now, these musical theatre performers are both incredibly well established, but they're not household names. You know, the reaction is who? You've not heard of them. They're not Imelda Staunton's. They are outstanding. I've seen Monique Young in a number of productions, and the chemistry between these two actors actors, husband and wife, because of course Barnum gets, whether he leads himself astray or gets led astray by Jenny Lind, the Swedish Nightingale. Also, another stunning performance from a woman called Penny Ashmore. Beautiful voice. Her soprano voice as the Swedish Nightingale is just gorgeous. So really, if you can get a ticket for Barnum at the Watermill Theatre in Newbury, it is on until September the 8th. It's just lovely. The only way to describe
it's not all about the tech and the money. It's about, I believe, and I've always believed it, it's about the heart. It's about, does the show have heart? Or is it just, industrial entertainment on an industrial scale? I love that. I remember so clearly when thinking of Barnum, there's a scene where Michael Crawford does that tightrope, but he walked across, I'm sure he walked across the top of the audience, because I was sitting there, unless I'm going raving mad. It was a long time ago. But I'm convinced he came almost over my head. He was terrific. I mean, it was great.
And he probably also needed safety wires and safety ropes for that because of the height and whatever in London.
It was high. It was not like you were saying. I couldn't do 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah, agreed.
He was bloody high. I remember.
Me neither. This is just 6 foot, but believe me, 6 foot is 6 foot.
No, I couldn't do it. I can't even change a light bulb without feeling dizzy. I'm serious. I got no.
It was a gorgeous night at the theatre. Honestly, it was one of the most uplifting musicals we'd seen for a very long time, and then matched wonderfully this week by Oliver down in Chichester, which is coming into the West End over Christmas. Cameron McIntosh has produced it alongside Chichester.
And this is not the Steve First. I just want to be clear, only because he's a mate. This isn't the Steve First version of it.
No. This is now Cameron McIntosh. He's got a very interesting history with Oliver. Cameron McIntosh, and sadly, of course, Lionel Bart, who wrote the show, his life ended in unfortunate circumstances. Various bits of substance abuse, financial disastrousness. Yeah. It was a sad end to
I sat next to Lionel Bart at dinner once, right? And he came.
He didn't do a Tim Rice on you, did he?
Oh, thank God he didn't. And I love Tim Rice. And he sat down just to my right. I said, hello. Didn't say a word to anybody the whole evening. The fastest eater I've ever seen, and I eat fast, got up and left. That was my experience of Lionel Bart.
He speaks very hard. He spoke
no,
very
it was
highly
the weirdest
of you,
thing. It was just so weird. I was excited. Oh my God, it's Lionel Bart. How exciting is this evening going to be? No.
So when he was down on his luck, Cameron McIntosh bought the rights off of
yes,
it
he did.
For Oliver.
Yeah.
I think that money didn't last too long, sadly, in Bart's hands. And Cameron McIntosh, to his credit, when there was the big Jonathan Pryce Oliver a few years ago, which I think was at Drury Lane, Cameron McIntosh actually cut Lionel in for a slice of the profits that
what a decent guy
that he did not have to do.
No, he didn't. Under no legal or moral obligation whatsoever.
So McIntosh has a long association with the show, and directed by Matthew Bourne, who hails from Walthamstow, which I didn't know until reading various bits and pieces, who also, if you read his biography, he's got a long love affair with Oliver that goes back a very, very long way. So these two are a powerhouse behind the show, and Cameron McIntosh has actually written some revisions that are so subtle I could barely notice them. But if I compare them with how, for example, Starlight Express has been revised, and it's almost like taking a hammer, albeit you didn't think Starlight Express was a work of art to begin with, fair enough. But its revisions are crude and blunt. Oliver still is as gorgeous and as dark as it always has been. But you sit there in that show and every song is an absolute banger.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Jonathan Baz. I think it's one of the greatest musicals of all time.
It is.
I think it is utterly magnificent.
It is one of the...
It's extraordinary.
And for musicals that are set in England, of which there are very few, because nearly all of them are set in the United States,
Yeah.
For music, and I'm not saying written by Englishmen, because Tim Rice, Andrew Lloyd Webber have written some crackers.
Yes,
but for
they have.
musicals that are set in England, I really think it's probably the best. It's more of a show than My Fair Lady for me. In its understanding of humanity, of London, of England, and all of those songs from
Who's playing Fagin?
Oliver.
Who's playing Fagin?
Fagin is played possibly by a chap you may or may not have heard of, Simon Lipkin.
Yes, I do. Why don't
He's got very good musical theatre credentials.
I do know him.
Again, one of these people who's not a household name. So there is hardly any star billing aside from the director and producer. Nancy is a gorgeous performer, Shanae Holmes. Bill Sykes, played by a chappie called Aaron Sidwell, who's been in EastEnders and bits and pieces. So he's, again, a name that some people may know, but there are no massive stars in this show. The set design is outstanding. Les Brotherston, who's worked very closely with Matthew Bourne. The design is amazing. A whirl of revolving stages, steampunk, clever bridges. It's Victoriana, but it's for the 21st century.
So what are the subtle changes?
Fagin, which is interestingly not played to a degree of stereotyping.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, if I read other reviews, have picked up a hint of Captain Jack Sparrow in Simon Lipkin Fagin. I don't disagree. I saw hints of Max Bialystock. It's a gorgeous Fagin.
Gotta have Checky. Can't write play without Checky.
Lipkin is brilliant. The girl, as I say, Shanae Holmes, who plays Nancy, she takes the roof off the place with As Long As He Needs Me. I was in tears.
For God's sake.
I was destroyed. And a really lovely touch, Mr. Bumble and Widow Corney, which offer a little bit of comedy. If you think of Les Miserables and the Thénardiers, you can see that the Thénardiers would have been inspired when the guys who wrote Les Mis, which followed some number of years after Oliver, you have Mr. Bumble and Widow Corney, played by a chap called Oscar Conlon Mori, who is bloody brilliant at everything he does. He is outstanding as Mr. Bumble, and playing Widow Corney is Katie Seacombe, daughter of the late and much loved Harry Seacombe.
I saw, yes. Oh, that was
who, if you remember the movie, played Mr. Bumble in the 1968 movie of Oliver.
So,
I
remember it,
you have this glorious touch. To be fair, Katie Seacombe is a brilliant performer in her own right. She's not there on the basis that she's Harry's daughter. But for those who know and love the show, it is such a gorgeous touch to see her in that role.
I remember seeing, when I was a kid, seeing Harry Seacombe as Pickwick. Do you remember there was a musical called Pickwick?
Yeah.
If I Ruled the World, that big, huge song, which just tore the roof off the place when he performed it. That was a memory.
So it's on. Oliver is on at Chichester. It's on until September the 7th. And then it comes to London, I believe, in December, when I suspect prices will change significantly.
You think?
When one compares the Gielgud Theatre to Chichester Festival Theatre.
Thank you for the invitation. I just want to say thank you for the invitation. Work, I'm afraid, stood in the way of my schedule, as it really is at the moment. So I would have come to them.
I liked it so much that I've actually trudged down to the vaults of Baz Towers, blown the dust off my wallet, and I'm returning in August.
Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. This is up there with Biden saying he's not racing. Jonathan has found his wallet.
Indeed. And I'll be taking Mrs. Baz. I'll be taking Master Baz and his new lady wife because it's just so gorgeous.
Master Baz.
It's so gorgeous.
Oh, good.
I can't praise it highly enough.
How fantastic is that?
Yeah,
How
lovely,
fabulous.
lovely theatre. We are spoiled in this country this summer. We are truly spoiled.
We're spoiled, but I wish they'd just make. I understand. Look, these are. Let's be grown up about that. These are commercial ventures. It's not a charity. They're commercial ventures. They need bums on seats. Every show costs an absolute fortune to put on and produce. A musical in the West End. The budget, because we were looking at something, is a minimum of 5 million. 5 million is your starting point before you've printed a program or, nothing. You need 5 million quid in the war chest to put on a musical in the West End. So you've got to recoup that money. I get that. Of course you do. But boy, oh boy, in these crazy times, these uncertain times, these scary times, we need theatre more. We need art more, but we've got to be able to afford it. And that's
Russ, you're not wrong.
Difficult.
And hurrah for provincial theatre.
Absolutely.
It is very affordable.
The thing is, you made a very interesting point. I know I've got you from. I'm waiting for Chantal as well, but she appeared and she's disappeared. She's down in Wales, full of Welsh. So the thing is this: what people don't understand about Panto is that a good run at Panto pays for that theatre for the rest of the year. They can put on smaller shows, they can put on bigger shows, they can afford to experiment a little bit and give the public a wonderful smorgasbord of, creativity. But they live or die on those 6-8 weeks, whatever it might be, of Panto. People don't understand how vital that is. It's what props up so many provincial theatres. That's why I'm a huge fan of it. I did it for 9 years.
It's a very different shtick to the Julian Clary pantomime.
Oh, they're completely different. Yeah,
it is a different thing. I know the Clary one is expensive, but that really is. It's a night out on the town, and it's full of song and dance. If you like that,
it's worth doing if you can afford it. If, like, in other words, you don't want to wait for a couple of weeks. It's worth seeing once. It's worth seeing once. It's a spectacle the likes of which you never see anywhere else outside of Vegas, really. The costumes and everything. Clary's costumes. It's worth going just to see Julian Clary's costumes. Forget the script. Just seeing his costumes, you go, what? It's like that. But if you've seen it, you've seen it. Not saying it's
Indeed.
Not good.
Tonight,
Jonathan, go on.
It's Shrek, and there's more to bring to you in 2 weeks' time.
What did you say?
No, tonight. I'm off to see Shrek.
Oh,
and
God, really? Jesus. Really? You couldn't track me to see that. God.
And next week is a bit of John Steinbeck. So, it's a balanced diet.
So this is interesting. This is Shrek, written by John Steinbeck.
No, that's next week. Steinbeck is next week.
Okay. We will see you in a couple of weeks. As always, Jonathan Baz, the intrepid, wonderful. I love having you on the show. Thanks, JB. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. He doesn't care. What I love about him, he tells it like it is. And he's worked so hard. People don't understand this. To get into the critic circle and be acknowledged as a critic, it doesn't plop in your lap, You've really got to work damn hard and you've got to be damn good before you're accepted. Oh, I'm feeling like a leak. That didn't come out right. Oh, how deep, how green was my valley. Oh, it's the one show with I can't remember her name, no idea. It's on in the background. I never listened to it. Ladies and gentlemen, you know her. You love her. Time for the thoughtful pulchritudinous, the charismatic gorgeousness, the televisual incisiveness. I can't think of any more bullshit. Chantal Rickards. There you go. That's it.
BS, you said it.
I am. You moved. Now, why did you move? I saw you and then you moved.
Because I went out to see if I could bring the internet router closer to where I am sitting and managed to pull the internet out. So I then had to very quickly reposition myself onto my iPad. So I am now coming to you via my iPhone, which is linked to my iPad. So
Jesus,
it's all gone. It's all gone horribly wrong.
You're the like female Phil Dave of tech. I'm just about
No,
able
Phil
to switch
knows
my
what he's
phone
doing.
on. Well,
Phil knows what he's doing. I just
he
make
does
it
know
up.
what he's doing. Well, Rupert says he knows what he's doing. He must know what he's doing. Yeah. How are you? How's Wales?
Do you know, Wales is very good. And if you want to leak, do you just want to take a couple of minutes out?
No. I was thinking of that.
Wait.
We don't have to overplay that hilarious joke. Right.
It's been done before.
It's been done many times before. I was there. So, is the weather decent? Is it good? What's it looking
It's sunny today, but I have to say it hasn't been wonderful this week. But we just have to sort of ignore the conversation when it's not great and just enjoy the moments when it's nice. But today is a lovely day. So
my daughter just phoned me this morning. Just got back from Devon, and it managed to rain every single day.
No.
Yes. Okay. And then the dog pooed in the car.
Oh God. Not great. Not great.
It's a huge dog. Not like my little dog. This thing's huge.
Oh well. Oh God. That's bad, because that's a long journey back to London.
Well, they've got to right opposite one of the crematoriums that I do a lot of work at. And what's the chances of that? I don't know. Everyone's a critic. Okay. So what have you managed to see?
I've been star spotting this week.
Ooh.
Yes, been star spotting. I just thought I'd update you on the having only 2 weeks ago I was on the beach in Malibu.
I hate you, by the way.
Yeah, indeed. Just northwest of Los Angeles.
Near Paradise Cove?
Very close to Paradise Cove, but I was on Carbon Beach, which is where all the stars live. I wandered up and down the beach, did not see a celebrity at all. The whole day I was there, didn't see one celebrity. I think I was the most famous person.
You are the most famous wherever you are.
Famous.
You are the most famous person. That's for sure.
But on Tuesday morning, I went and had a coffee in the village with my sister overlooking the harbour. We walked out of the coffee bar, and who should walk in but Bradley Cooper.
Get out of town.
No, Bradley Cooper is staying with Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls has an island just off the coast here.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't exactly? Everybody has an island in Wales.
Everyone's got a blooming island.
Yeah, well, it's bang next to Carla Lane's island. Carla is no longer with us, but Carla Lane, the famous Liverpudlian scriptwriter who wrote some
Liverbirds.
Liverbirds and Bread and Butterflies.
Did she write Butterflies? Yeah,
Butterflies. Yeah. And Bread. She bought an island here about 40 years ago, I think, and it's still in the family. I still know her family. And
has she passed now?
She passed. Yes, she did. She passed, I would say, probably 10 years ago, I think, something like that.
I had the weirdest thing once, Chantal, is that my phone went a million years ago. Hello, it's Carla Lane here. I'm going,
really?
I'm like speechless because it's Carla Lane. You know, I admire writers so much. You know, that's
indeed.
And I just couldn't. And she wanted to talk about something, and I was like, "Oh my God, I couldn't get over." My phone rang. I mean, it was just weirdest thing having this conversation.
And why was she phoning?
She wanted me to help with some animal welfare organization that she was with, and I would have done it. I absolutely. Oh my God, she's fallen over.
No, I haven't. I'm still here.
I thought I was going to have to jump in the motorway, go down the M4 and save her.
You could if you want.
Afternoon. I can't. I'm afraid I've got a podcast to record, and then I've got clients to go and see. A friend now at the funeral. She wanted me to help her with an animal project, and I gave her my support, but I couldn't do the exact same thing that she wanted me to do, which was to tow a banner behind the flying eye. And I said, Carla, I don't have the know on what happens with the plane. I'm just a paid hired help. You know, I turn up, do my job, and bugger off. So that was it. I said, I'm afraid I can't.
Would have been a very good idea, though. They could have made a lot of money by taking one of those streamer things behind.
We did
south
that.
Of France,
oh no, it was awful. We did all that. It was absolutely terrifying.
Did you?
Oh yes, we towed banners often. They were terrible to do. Can I tell you why? Are you interested in why? I've got.
no, I am genuinely interested.
I assumed in my ignorance, you know how stupid I am, that there was a button you pressed, a little trap door came in the back of the plane, the banner flew out, right? I thought it would be like something high tech. No.
No.
Bearing in mind each letter's about 6 feet tall, and they're put in with like a toggle, like on a duffel coat. So they lay out a like a grid on the grass, and then they sort of duffel coat toggle in each letter on the banner. The banner's laid flat. They run a wire to what looks like a rugby post, but the rugby post is only a few feet off the ground. So you take off. I thought the pilot was joking. I nearly pooed my pants because you take off, you come over the airfield, lit almost at grass top height, with this stupid hook hanging out, and the hook catches the wire, and then you take off with the banner. Absolutely terrifying. But the moment you're dragging the banner, the front of the plane rises right up. You can't see anything.
Oh my God.
Because of the weight and the pull. So you're at the front of until you're flying along like this crazy angle the whole time.
That
wasn't great when one day, and thank God it wasn't me, one day the hook broke and landed on a house in Croydon. Yep. They kept that out the papers. It fell straight off the plane. Down it went. Nobody was hurt. Miracle.
Bizarre.
Miracle.
Absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, so, well, there we are. The stories of Northwest Wales and celebrities marching
So
up
did
and
you
down the
speak
village
to
high
Bradley
street.
Cooper?
No.
Did you go, hello, I'm Chantal?
No, well, I've met him before because I've been.
Oh, of course you. Oh, for God's sake.
I thought it would not be appropriate.
Bloody have.
Actually, I was marching up and down in my shorts and my BAFTA t-shirt, so it might have given it away. But I thought, no, it's not the time to do it. He was on his holidays and I'm on mine. So.
Okay, fair enough. You didn't go up to him and go, I am Groot, just to make him feel at home. I know he didn't play that part. I know it was Vin Diesel. Don't write it. I know that.
No, well, I did put a post up on Facebook saying I was slightly overexcited by Bradley Cooper being in the village. And somebody posted up a thing saying, why is Chantal so overexcited about the man who's the presenter of The Chase being up in North Wales? So anyway, there we are.
Yes, Bradley Walsh and Bradley Cooper. Never seen in the same room together at the same time. Right, there we go. Mystery solved, gang. Mystery solved. Holy moly. Right. So have you seen anything apart from Bradley Cooper?
Yes, I have. And I haven't been chasing Bradley Cooper around the streets.
That's a lie. You know you have.
No. Those days are behind me. I would have done in the old days, but probably not any longer.
Dave Fleet's come up with a good one. There's your movie idea. Attractive woman follows Bradley Cooper around Wales.
Well, I wondered whether it was here looking for a football team to buy. You never know.
Oh, it could be.
I mean, it's worked for Ryan Reynolds. So
didn't it just? Yeah. I should
be.
imagine Bradley Cooper's he comes across, I don't know what the hell I'm saying, but he comes across as like a nice chap.
They
all do.
Nice.
Most of them are monsters.
Yeah, he's very nice. He's very charming. He's quite quiet. He's not very effusive. He's not an ebullient character.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So, I mean, some Hollywood types are sort of big and noisy, but I don't think he's one of them. He's more gentle than that. But a nice chap.
Good.
I interviewed him probably 7 or 8 years ago for a British film called, I think it was British anyway, called Burnt. And he played the part of a chef who was supposed to be working at somewhere like the Langham Hilton.
Yes.
And the co-star was Sienna Miller. And I think I interviewed them in Hollywood.
Yes, of course you did.
Anyway, there we are.
Sienna Miller.
Yes.
Does she ever ask after me anymore? I thought we had something going, me and Sienna, but...
You think so?
It didn't work out.
No, sadly,
she was
she
very,
didn't know
very,
we were connected.
She was very fussy when we went to Nando's, and I thought, you're having a quarter of a chicken, you're not having a whole chicken. I'm not made of money. That's what I thought of it. Didn't go down well.
No.
Anyway, all right, okay.
Now, so I know you're a fan of Vera.
Oh, I love Vera, yes.
I thought you loved Vera. Well, there is a sort of slightly quirky Australian drama that's on the BBC at the moment, where the policewoman has a long Mac and a big hat.
That's all you need. That's the whole show done.
That's the whole show. And so, and it's called High Country. There's a bit, she rides a horse occasionally as well, because, you know, it's not all, doesn't all happen in a white police car. Occasionally she has to ride a police horse, which makes it slightly more interesting. But it's filmed in Victoria State in Australia. I don't know Australia at all, to be honest.
No, nor me. I couldn't tell you where it is. Well, I know where Australia is, but I don't know the geography of it.
Yeah. But this is a very, very mountainous area in Victoria and incredibly beautiful. It doesn't look like anything that you've ever really seen. I mean, I'm reasonably well traveled, but I don't feel as though it's a bit of the world that I recognize. And in fact, very little filming has been done there in the past. But they've created a very nice 8-part drama, which the BBC have picked up. It was created for Australian television, by Australian television. But it's a nice acquisition. You know, in the summer, you tend to find that what happens is the big stations don't put out their own material. They buy in material from other countries, and that tends to go out sort of in our high season here, if you like. Anyway, this is called High Country. She's the copper. She's just relocated from the city, so there's that bit of the fish out of water stuff
every time.
She's a slightly older woman, which to me makes her slightly more interesting.
Yep.
So yeah, and her sort of family background is interesting too. It's not particularly complicated, but it just gives an extra dimension to her. And then, in fact, the story takes off very quickly with the disappearance of somebody, matched with the disappearance of somebody else, and then the whole thing unravels and goes back several years, and you find out there are actually 5 people who've gone missing in the High Country and have never been found.
Ooh.
Then you get a lot of the Australian First Nations playing into all of this. So there's quite a lot of mysticism and references to the occult, but don't get dragged down that rabbit hole because it's not really.
Oh, that's
pertinent.
my favourite rabbit hole.
I know it is. I know it is. But actually, it's still jolly good, even though it doesn't, you know, it is much more a police procedural drama than it is a sort of slightly weird offbeat occult thing. But she's a very good actress, an actress I really don't know at all, and she plays the part beautifully of the lead copper.
And what I like about these things, there's some police dramas I watch that come from South America.
Oh, yes.
But it's very unfamiliar geography to me, you know.
Yeah.
I happen to live in London, so I just know streets, you know, roads. And, you know, blade of grass is a big deal. So when you see these huge vistas, when they're traveling and they've got to get from A to B, and it's an epic journey, you know, and it's remote, same as in the Basque, that brilliant trilogy set up in Basque country in Catalonia.
Oh, yes.
I love looking at these places which have really different, the feel, the look. It is unlike anything that I've experienced. And so I find it extra interesting. It adds a big layer when you're watching a show. Yeah.
And the Australians are very good storytellers. I particularly like the Australian political dramas, like The Code, which I absolutely loved. So, I mean, but they are great storytellers. They know what
Murdoch
works.
Mysteries. I used to like that. The Murdoch Mysteries. Was that? Yeah, Murdoch Mysteries was. Oh, no, hang on a minute. Am I going mad? No, that was Canadian. I'm so sorry.
Oh, is that Canadian?
That was Canadian. Okay. Yeah. I like that show a lot. That was really fun. No, there's another one. Oh God, where the big time it's the same thing, where the big time copper moves back to some cockamamie town and everything goes, you know. Yeah. But he's very laconic. It's nicely done.
Yeah,
nicely
exactly.
done.
And these characters are
you
quite
would approve. You would approve because the female characters are not just there to be female characters. You know, if they're really gutsy and funny and punch equally with, you know, it's good. I wish I could think of the bloody name of it now. Can't think of it. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Yeah. No, it's good that, you know, the characters are sort of slightly underplayed as opposed to overplayed. I mean, American tends to be where they overplay things, but Australians tend to.
You think?
In the best possible way.
And of course, the thing about America that we know is there's no ugly policeman, nobody ugly in NCIS, no ugly detectives. Everybody's gorgeous. Always
No.
gorgeous.
Oh,
They don't
absolutely
look like
gorgeous.
normal people.
Although I have got a program that I'm just going to tell you about in a second that might actually persuade you that that's not, that the drama is not based on fact. But anyway,
Oh,
but
okay. Yes,
I'm going
all right.
to drag you off to 1960s Baltimore for another fantastic drama. I've watched the first 1.5 episodes, and it's just getting better and better and better. Do you know who the actress Natalie Portman is?
Of course I
Portman
do.
is.
Absolutely. Of course I
Okay,
do.
American Israeli actress,
Yep.
super brain of all super brains.
She's very,
think
very smart. She's crazy smart.
super smart.
She really
Went
is.
to Harvard. I think she
Yeah.
speaks 6 or 7 languages,
Yeah.
including Japanese. I mean, she's really an extraordinary human being. She's an
Yeah.
Oscar winner. She's
Yeah.
done things as crazy as a Black Swan, which is what she got the Oscar for.
Hmm.
But then she really came to the fore through Star Wars. So
Yes,
she's got
of course, Star Wars
enormous
is completely
range.
watchable. Yes. Yeah.
Very watchable, but she's quite a mysterious character, and she plays a really, really interesting character in this series. I'm afraid it's on Apple TV, and you know what I always say about Apple TV, but this is really worth getting your £4.99 out for. It's called Lady in the Lake. It's been unbelievably well reviewed by anybody that's bothered to see it.
Yeah.
And quite rightly so. And the story is basically, it's a murder mystery, so bear that in mind. That's not where it starts. It starts where you see the life of an African American woman who has a completely miserable husband, and she's living on the breadline, and she wants to make something better of herself.
Okay.
And then you realize that her life somehow is going to be interconnected with the life of Natalie Portman, who is from a Jewish family in Baltimore. She has a husband who doesn't want her to work, so she hasn't been able to work. But you know that there's an elision coming up somewhere between the two. And then the daughter, 11-year-old daughter of one of the Jewish community, goes missing. And the two women are basically brought together to try and find this young child and then solve the mystery around it. So to start with, you think it's not really about a murder mystery, but the deeper you get into it, then you find that it is. And it's a very well written thing. It looks unbelievable. I cannot believe the amount of money that's been spent on it. The music tracks, you will love the music in it, because you go from fabulous jazz to marvelous classical music. It's somebody very clever has put the music together. I don't know who it is, and I should have
Probably
looked it
John
up.
Altman. just as we like John Altman.
Who knows? It could be.
Wouldn't it be
But it's
great?
only a 7-parter. It's a mini series based on a book about a real life crime a real life crime of 2 young women who disappeared. One was a young Jewish woman, one was a young African American woman, and in Baltimore, and how those stories were covered in the press at the time. So it's very multi-layered. It's quite dense. It's not, you can't do the ironing whilst you're watching it, because actually demands your attention, but it's really worth it.
What's it called again? Woman in the Lake.
Lady in the Lake. Lady in the Lake.
Wasn't there another? I thought there was one of those famous film noir from the 40s with the title.
You
like
see,
that,
I think you're right about that, because to me, Lady in the Lake. I
thought it was a Raymond Chandler. Sounds like a kind of Raymond Chandler-ish kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't look it up because then I'll
no.
All right, Lady in the Lake. It's on Apple, starring Natalie Portman, who we like.
Yeah. Okay. So, somebody else that you and I both like is Dick Wolf, who created Law and Order, Hill Street Blues, NYPD Blue.
Nothing.
I mean,
what's he ever done? Tell me anything we'd know.
No. What he has done is he's created a personal fortune of over $1 billion.
He must have. Do you know what? Every time Law and Order's been going for 21 years, 22 years. I mean, crazy.
Way more.
A lot longer. Okay, 25 years, right? You know, if you get a series away and it runs 2 series, you're doing great, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I see they've just closed down Outer Range, which I liked. Season 1 ended on a cliffhanger. Season 2's running now. And then the showrunners have said, that's it, no more. And
Really?
everyone's going, well, come on.
Oh,
No, we don't know
okay.
what's going to happen. Anyway, there we go. Dick Wolf. Yeah, I keep
Yeah.
thinking every time the end credit, Wolf Productions, whatever, Howland or something. Yeah, he must be a billionaire. Must be a
He
billionaire.
is.
Yeah.
So he
Good for
has
him.
created, going back to the conversation we were just having about American policemen and that they're all just drop dead good looking. He's created a documentary series which
Yes.
is called Homicide Los Angeles, which is about real life crime. But all of it is played out with the interviews of the policemen who help solve the crimes.
Oh, okay.
And they're gritty and they swear a lot and they're not good looking and they're overweight.
You're describing me, not good looking and swears a lot. They should just do a show about me.
But
Phone him up.
The great thing is they are real. They are the real people.
Yeah.
So you see all of these dramas, or the equivalent of dramas that all these stories we've heard a million years about somebody who gets murdered and et cetera. But when you hear the real life policeman talking about it, it's completely fascinating. And somehow I get much more dragged into the revelations that come because they're being told by the people involved. It's only a 5-parter. I think it's the second season. I must have missed the first season. And the first program, in fact, is about Phil Spector, which is a story quite a lot of us know.
Oh, yeah.
Because Phil Spector ended up in not a good place, let's face it, and nor did his companion for the evening.
Well, she ended up in a slightly worse place.
Yeah, she did.
I think it's fair to say.
She definitely did.
Getting shot is never a good end to an evening. I find.
Do you know,
I don't want to be, I don't want to be dictatorial about it. I like an evening to end where I'm not dead. That's just me. And I've been to your parties many times. And I walk away, and that's an evening. It's a night out for me.
That's a night out, exactly. A night out is not going back to the Phil Spector mansion and ending up in a shroud.
Yeah, that's the trick. And then a funeral director phoning me up. No, it was he was a genius. The thing is, he was a genius. I mean, he was just fantastic, and he was at the same time completely mad.
Obviously,
which is a problem.
Yeah, a real problem. And actually,
he really was nuts. He was.
I couldn't remember. Yeah, I couldn't remember what had happened at the end of the Phil Spector story. I'm sure I Spector. I must have.
Yeah, it was very odd. It was a very odd story, with one saying one and one not saying anything because she was dead. Chantal has frozen. No, I'm going to put in honor of the Chanters. In honor, I'll put her name up because we'll never know. Oh, Chantal, come back. She's just sitting there like a Botticelli Venus. I think I can get away with that these days. Damn, so many things I wanted to ask her. I'm going to take her off because she's frozen, which is embarrassing. And I'll keep an eye out, see if she comes back. Damn. Love the Chanters. Now, by the way, now I'm here. If you want to watch and subscribe to the show, the subscribing, you just click a button. There's no money involved, so relax. Oh no, she's back. She's moving. I can see movement. She's back.
It's all happening here.
You see, we mentioned Phil Spector came back from the grave, and he's haunting you in Wales.
No, I think that I've completely messed up the system today, and I'm going to have to sort it out. But apologies for that. So no, I disappeared.
The internet has gone down worse than the French railways. If that wasn't a deliberate hack, I don't know what was. What a
could have been
thing to do.
Everything's gone. I mean, honestly, the world gets more and more crazy by the minute.
It's terrifying. I'm absolutely. It's awful. It's awful. Tomorrow are 2 huge marches in central London. Huge.
Oh, yes. What for?
One is the Tommy Robinson March.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything about it, but Tommy Robinson is marching, and this is going to be a big one. The last one was big, wasn't covered properly. The media obviously ignored it because it's Tommy Robinson. It's just pepper spray him while he's having his breakfast. Why not? Seems to be the rule. Anyway, Tommy Robinson's doing a huge march. So naturally, the let's stop the fascists. He's not a fascist. The people marching with him are not fascists. their concern. But let's stop the fact that now there's going to be a counter march. So I'm not going into town tomorrow, Shutters, to have my normal weekly cigar with Ray Gelato and Colin Vaines, film producer of The Stars, because I don't want my head kicked in, basically.
Okay, right.
So that's it. So London, again, is, forget it. You can't go there.
Out of bounds.
Looking forward to it.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. If you're going to the march, I will say this. Please be safe. Keep it peaceful. Don't give the mainstream media the opportunity to call you Nazis and fascists and everything else. Just be decent human beings. All right? And let the other side behave like animals. And that's rude to animals. You don't need to. All right? You don't need to. And I'm sure you won't. You're best in Wales. Best in Wales, I'm telling you now. Anything quick. You can just squeeze it.
Yes, my friend Matthew Bird, who created or was the first producer on Death in Paradise, has created, is the producer of The Turkish Detective, started on BBC One, I think 2 weeks ago. Turkish policeman, relocates from London to Istanbul, police procedural, very good actors. And beautiful Istanbul, and more than that you don't really need to say.
That's it. I'm done with that.
Little bit quirky, beautiful. But you can tell that there's a little bit of fun and humor behind it, so it's cozy-ish. It's not quite cozy.
If you ever speak to Matthew Bird, tell him he is my hero in that case.
I will,
because
I will.
I adore Death in Paradise. And do you know who I chat to on Twitter most days? Do you know?
No.
Elizabeth Bourgoin, who is the bar owner.
Wow.
No, weird, huh? Weird.
That's fabulous. I love
I've never met her, obviously, but I love that show. It's coming back. It'll be back in the new year. I can't say who told me, but it wasn't her, by the way. I was at the same party as you were at, and you know who was there from the show.
There we
There's
are.
a new detective joining, of course. I think it's Phil Dave playing the part. Could be wrong. Chantal, enjoy the rest of your vacation,
I certainly will.
or even a
I'll see you
holiday.
next
Have
week.
a lovely, lovely time. My regards
Stay
to all your
safe.
family down there, and thank you as
you.
ever. Bye-bye. So that's it, gang, for another week. If you are going marching tomorrow, please be safe. I know you're feeling super angry. You're feeling super tense about it if you're going. And I know you want to show how you feel. But do it in a peaceful way. Don't give the mainstream media the ammunition to fire back at you, because they're itching for that. The narrative has to be changed. The narrative has to be changed. What a time to be alive. We got any more comments just before I disappear? Any more comments quickly? You're the best, Chantal, says the wonderful Françoise Pascal. What's happened here? Oh, we're glad we've cheered you up, Paul. I'm sorry. And Graham Pack, I'm downloading Lady in the Lake. It all looks good. Well, there we go. Been another busy week. I'll be back. Will I be back on Monday? Yeah, I think I'll be back on Monday. We're doing well. Take care. Try and stay out of trouble. Bye-bye.